Hey guys, it's Channel Weird. We are coming to you from Portland, Oregon, one of the weird capitals of the world, and today it is no exception. I got to ask you a question. Do you remember Saturday mornings when you woke up, got your Captain Crunch, and got in front of the TV, and you heard this theme song?
Marshall, Will, and Holly on a routine expedition met the greatest earthquake ever known. High on the rapids, it struck their tiny raft and plunged them down 1,000 feet below to the land of the lost.
Okay. I think we get the picture. Sid and Marty Krofft did a TV show called The Land of the Lost with Marshall, Will, Holly, Chaka, and the Sleestack. And one of the good guys was Enoch, who was a Sleestack. But the Sleestack themselves were terrifying when I was a kid watching these guys. Terrifying. And as we were deciding to do a show today, I found out that in Portland there's actually a real Sleestack, or actually a guy who dresses up like a Sleestack. And so here he is, Portland Sleestak. How you doing, man?
How's it going?
Good.
Can you hear me all right?
I think we can hear you okay.
Okay.
Now, you have a full costume.
I do.
You just came in a little late, so we couldn't get you in full costume.
Right.
But the mask itself is remarkable.
Excellent. Thank you. Yeah.
So
I sculpted it and cast it myself.
So you're a sculptor.
Yeah, I am now.
No.
Up until a few years ago, no.
How long did it take to make this mask?
From beginning to end, the sculpting probably took about 3, maybe 4 months, and then casting and doing the mold wasn't that long at all.
So this is your own design.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm just still blown away by what I'm seeing here because, like I said, it was when I was a kid, it was terrifying. I mean, you and I must be around the same age because this is a remarkable thing. I mean, so you watched Land of the Lost.
6 years old when the show was on.
Okay, so you were 6 years old when it was on. So, what were your thoughts of the Sleestack when you were a kid?
Oh, they were horrifying.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't speak, and so you didn't know what they wanted from you, except to put you in a cage and drop you in a pit with an unseen monster.
Right.
So, yeah, they were terrifying. And I could always tell my sister that the Sleestack will get you, and she'd cry and scream and run away. And, it was a good way to get rid of her once in a while.
See, I always think to myself that, when we had the alien abduction thing going on, I think a lot of people, when they tried to describe, and every time I heard them describe the aliens, I'm thinking they're describing the Sleestack because they're talking about the reptilians. And right. I don't know, but when Sid and Marty Krofft did Land of the Lost, it just seemed to me that everything that a kid liked was in it. There were dinosaurs and there were like alien creatures, like the Sleestack reptilian alien creatures, saurian walking creatures.
Right.
And so, did you, when you were a kid, pretend to be a Sleestack?
No, actually, it is. I always wanted to date Holly, of course.
Oh, everybody did.
All the little boys did.
Yeah.
She was older and she was, very adventurous and.
Yeah.
So, but it was just I loved it because of the dinosaurs mostly and all the other creatures that showed up eventually.
What's your favorite episode? Do you remember?
Oh boy, probably. The one at it was the season finale for season 1,
right? Where
they discovered that they were part of a time loop.
Yeah.
And the family actually escaped at the end, but the same family
had to
returned
come back in.
and took their place. So
yeah, I think it was Enoch that said to them, "There's a doorway that you need to go through, and if you don't
super
go through,
deep for such a kitschy kid show."
I mean, yeah, you think about it. What they were teaching you quantum physics,
right.
They were teaching you superposition, they were teaching you all these things when you were a kid. And that's why, I think those who watched it were enlightened a little bit into time travel. And of course, they had the pylons, which looked like little UFOs were flying around. And
right.
Everything was in there that, that I love to talk about on my program, Ground Zero.
Exactly.
And I just, I was thinking to myself, when I heard that we were going to interview you, I was just thinking to myself, obviously this guy loved the show so much he took it to the next level. My favorite one was the one where Holly meets her future self.
Oh, yeah.
Because the actress they chose to play Holly in her future self, I mean, it was like she looked like her.
Right.
Is what she would look like when she was older. It was obvious. And that thing where she said she had a scratch on her hand or something, and she says, I got this from, or a scar, and she says, I got this from helping my brothers, or my father and my brother. And then she ends up getting scratched by, I think, Alice or the dinosaur or something. And so it kind of like, again, there was the whole idea of future retrocausality, causality, and all that stuff.
Yeah, it certainly got you thinking.
I mean, I don't know what they were. Sid and Marty Krofft, they go from like Puffin Stuff to Lidsville to this.
Well, it was the 70s.
Yeah, it was just genius. And
and
the thing is they tried to remake or reboot Land of the Lost, and I was just really disappointed that nobody took it seriously, because I think that there is a market
definitely
for taking it seriously.
Yeah.
And making the Sleestack more terrifying than, they're terrifying now. They did such a great job with them back then.
Yeah.
But I could just imagine with CGI or whatever, they could probably make the Sleestack look even more alien and more creepy.
Certainly.
And I don't know. I just like I said, it's just exciting that there's somebody out there like me who loved the Land of the Lost as much as I did.
Oh yeah.
Did you ever meet any of the stars of the show?
I have not yet.
You
yeah, I'm Facebook friends with them. We follow each other on Instagram, and that's nonsense. And we've spoken to each other, but not physically met yet.
So
pandemic.
You speak with Wesley, and that's his name. Wesley,
right? Wesley Ure,
Wesley Ure, and then of course, what's Holly's name?
Kathy Coleman.
Kathy Coleman, and she's kind of like a cashier now somewhere in a.
I'm not sure what she's doing. They do a lot of public appearances as a group.
Yeah.
The guy that played Chaka, Philip Paley, I think his name is.
Yeah.
They get together and they'll take pictures with fans sitting in a raft.
That's another thing. Again, it's like you break down the whole genre here: dinosaurs, UFOs,
right?
Pyramids, aliens.
Medusa was on there.
Medusa,
the
time
Yeti,
doorways,
right?
And then the Yeti, the Chaka. Chaka was a little baby Yeti.
There were some dragons as well.
What do they call the Pakuni? They call the Pakuni, right?
Yeah.
So the Pakuni were like the Bigfoots, and then everything.
Short versions.
The short versions. Everything that as a kid you were fascinated with was crammed into the show.
Exactly.
And it's. I just wish more. And in fact, it was funny because I remember. Well, I've got a younger intern and then I've got an older producer.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't even know what a Sleestack was. I says, "You don't?" I said, "Oh my God, the most terrifying creature ever to grace TV was a Sleestack."
Yeah. Well, the ones that showed up in Will Ferrell's terrible movie, they were scary looking, but they didn't really take that movie seriously, and it just didn't do very well.
It bombed at the box office.
Yeah, we try not to speak of it too often.
Well, I watched it for general principle because,
of course, the Sleestacks looked cool.
Yeah, they did. I mean, they're always
everything
cool.
Else about it was horrible.
They're kind of like the dancing bears of this. It's like if the kids aren't paying attention because Marshall, Will, and Holly are having some drama,
right?
Then break out the Sleestack because they were always like, "Oh my God!" And I just remember though that when I started hearing, because I got into this type of stuff, the weird stuff, the comic book stuff, and talking about paranormal and parapolitical stuff on my shows. I remember at a young age of about, I think it was like 13 or 14 years old, I started hearing stories about abduction cases.
Yeah.
And I saw the drawings of what they saw, and I thought to myself, Sleestack,
right.
Maybe they're having some sort of a memory thing with Sleestack. And I'm like going, otherwise, maybe the Sleestack were based on, the reptilian. You hear like David Icke talk about reptilians, and you hear about, you see the reptilians being depicted in fiction,
right? And
that throughout, I guess you could say throughout history, in any kind of history, mythology or whatever,
there's always a watcher of Ancient Aliens. So
are you a watcher of Ancient Aliens?
Yeah,
of course you are. Of course you are.
Yeah.
And just the idea that there were like the Dagon, which were the fish people, and then you had you have these reptilian type of creatures that were there, and now we're calling them draconians. And it just seems to me that I think Sid and Marty Krofft had some sort of a, I guess you could say, a hand on the zeitgeist or hand on the palm of what kids. I mean, it was at a time where I remember going to the theaters and seeing things like In Search of Bigfoot or In Search of Aliens, or they even had In Search of Noah's Ark, and then they had they had Orson Welles talking about Nostradamus, and so all these things we were seeing in theaters when we were kids. And I think it kind of programmed us in a way. I think it made, if you were fascinated with this stuff and completely blown away by this stuff, you'd be either, studying it more, or in your case, going and making a mold. It's remarkable facsimile of the Sleestack.
Thank you.
So once again, how long did it take you to make this costume?
Well, the first suit that I did, this is actually the third mask, the third full body. The first suit that I did was maybe about 6 months. It was terribly hard to wear. I mean, I learned to do it by watching YouTube videos. And so by the time I get it all put together, it was a half an inch thick of solid latex, and it wore like a suit of armor. You know, it was really hard to put on, and it was hard to wear for a very long time. The second suit took more like 9 months because I really spent my time sculpting each part. And, you know, we did the arms separately, the legs and the feet separately, the body in one piece. You know, every scale, every square inch of it was hand sculpted and then cast in latex and laid over an undersuit.
So how do you see out of the mask? Is it through the nose? Because those eyes...
the eyes are actually like for security camera domes. So normally there'd be a little security camera in here. And then I have some round lenses that give it the full darkness. Right. So I'm seeing through the eye right about here.
And then, of course, I'm sure that when you make appearances, you hiss, right?
Oh yeah, there will be sound effects. I'm still working on getting that done. But
so you'd have the hissing already, like recorded.
Yeah, I'll have this quiver with a rudimentary slingshot kind of strapped to it, and I'll be able to push a button in my glove, and it'll sound loud and clear. And
so, have you ever had you ever think about getting a whole group of guys? I mean, that would be terrifying if you had a whole group of Sleestack. That'd be expensive, but well, I mean, all you got to do, I mean, like on the show today, you should say to people, you know, I guess, you know, if you want to be part of the Sleestack group, I have the plans, and if you want to pay, how much would you charge for a suit like this?
Oh boy, I've never actually calculated how much it all cost. I just went on the credit card and I paid it off. So you know. Well,
you got to go into business. I'd probably cry. You go into business with this. I think you just say you want a Sleestack costume.
They'd probably be about $3,500 a piece.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of work,
but it's worth it, man. If you want to look like a Sleestack, I'm sure people, because I know that that was the I think it's like the 501st. Is that what they call themselves? The Camino Star Trek group or Star Wars group. God, don't kill me. Star Wars group, and they have guys that do the molds of the stormtrooper outfit.
Oh, sure.
We had a Darth Vader that was just most excellent Darth Vader, and of course, many of the Mandalorians were there, and they would spend so much money in their cosplay. Certainly. And so it wouldn't be beyond the pale if somebody was a fan of the Land of the Lost or a fan of the Sleestack. Yeah, I'd like to see an Enoch. I think that'd be fun. What would that be? Kind of a pale. No, he's kind of a brown. Yeah, he's kind
of a tan, like sandy color.
Yeah,
his hands are different. And he's short.
I never understood. Tall. I never understood why they didn't explain. Maybe they did. I mean, maybe you can enlighten me. They never explained why Enoch was a different color Sleestack and why he was a good Sleestack.
Well, he actually in the third season he kind of turned into a bad guy. The deal was that Enoch is a member of a race called the Altrusians, and the Sleestack are basically the Neanderthal version of the Altrusians. So they evolved into the Altrusians, and then some calamity happened, and they reverted back to their, stupid.
And they were named after a captain named Sleestack, right?
Yeah, the guy that supposedly discovered them, right? Who's long dead.
Yeah, because he had his name on the cave, if I remember, and that they said that's why they call him Sleestack, named after the captain or named after
John Sleestack.
John Sleestack. And it never really. I vaguely remember how he wound up in that Land of the Lost.
He fell through a doorway just like Marshall Willem Hall.
Right, and he kept a log, and they found the log that somebody else had been there before.
Right, several people.
Yeah, and then there's and another thing too. Gosh, I'm just remembering everything. The crystals.
Yeah.
We now a lot of times on my show, we talk with people who like crystals, and they use them for communication, and then we learn that crystals are good conductors of electricity. That you go back to the crystal radios, you go back to how they're able to transmit. And that's exactly what they did in Land of the Lost. Enoch would move them in the Lost City. He would move them around, and they would open the doorway that way.
Right. Well, depending on which pylon you were in, each pylon did a different function for the whole place. It was kind of like a closed universe. So if you walked in a straight line, you'd end up right back where you started.
Right.
Like the TV used to.
Yeah. It was just, I don't know, maybe they hired somebody to come in and talk about quantum physics or talk about, this type of thing, because you go back, and somebody should write a book called The Science of the Land of the Lost.
Right. Because it's probably out there.
It probably, because once again, it inspired me when I was a kid to think about a lot of these ideas. And while they were fiction, it just seemed that there was an evolution that happened within the culture, within the zeitgeist,
Certainly.
where not only did we have Star Wars and we had all these creatures that we saw in the movies, but there was still that place in our hearts for that childhood memory of the Land of the Lost.
Right.
And how, again, we had characters that we wanted to find out what happened to them. It was an adventure, but it was made on the cheap. Everything that Sid and Marty Krofft did seemed to be made on the cheap. They had this whole thing where I remember, they did this whole thing called Sid and Marty Krofft Hour on ABC. Yep. And this was an NBC show, if I recall.
I think so, yeah.
But they did this thing on ABC where they had like Electro Woman and Dinah Girl, and they had Dr. Shrinker, and they had all these other characters, and they were all packed in one show, one afternoon. You just kick back.
Shazam and ISIS.
Yeah, Shazam and ISIS and all that stuff.
Right.
And I'm thinking, man, they just like cornered superheroes and all that stuff. And then, of course, that place in our hearts for Land of the Lost, which was just amazing.
Yeah, they actually employed quite a few of the writers and creative talents from Star Trek. Walter Koenig, I think, directed a few episodes, and some of the Star Trek writers did a few episodes as well.
See, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
it stands to reason though that some of the best science fiction people were probably involved with Land of the Lost.
The Sleestacks, there were 3 suits that they built for the series, and they were all worn by UCLA basketball players. One of them is Bill Laimbeer, who later became NBA, and now I think he's a coach. I'm not sure exactly. I'm not a basketball fan, but I do know that much.
So it would stand to reason because they were probably the Sleestack were really tall.
Yeah, that was
probably about 6 feet, 7 feet tall.
Right.
Again, marauding and scary, and living in caves.
Right.
So let's say that. Okay. So when did this idea of coming up with a costume came to be in your life? How old were you?
Really, I just wanted to have just a match, just a head, and like wear a tuxedo or a leisure suit, and then wear it as a Halloween costume. And when I got done with the first head, it just kind of took over. It really just took on a life of its own, and so I made a body and ended up selling that to a collector down in Van Nuys at the Secret Lair action figure museum. He bought the full-size suit all stuffed and mounted. The second suit is waiting for that to happen. It's still hanging on its perch at home, so it's technically I'm still a 2 Sleestack house, but they only fit me.
I have a 2 Sleestack house. So when
that one and this one look pretty much the same. They're from the same molds. The first one was very different.
Have you ever thought of doing an Enoch mold?
Maybe. I mean, I kind of want to do a few other projects, and try out like doing hair and things like that. So maybe a Sasquatch or like a Wendigo or something like that. But,
wow.
We'll see what happens.
Portland Sleestak. It's portlandsleestak.com, right?
No website yet.
Okay.
I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter.
Right. The Portland Sleestak with us, and we're gonna take the mask off and reveal the guy's name coming up. Okay. Once again, it's just an amazing thing right here on Channel Weird. We'll be back with more. Don't go away.
Thank you.
It's all over the news, food shortages and scarcity in the supply chain. And the reality is nobody truly knows what might happen in the near future. Hi, I'm Clyde Lewis, and I want to let you know that it's a good idea to plan ahead so you aren't caught off guard. Nothing's more important than having enough food to eat, and we're here to help. We highly recommend My Patriot Supply, America's leading emergency preparedness company. They provide long-term emergency food that lasts up to 25 years in storage. When grocery stores run empty or disasters strike, their foods will be there when you need them most. Act now and secure at least a 4-week emergency food kit full of tasty meals that provide 2,000 calories a day. They have dozens of emergency food storage kits to choose from, along with a variety of other survival products. If the government tells you not to go out, you can have the peace of mind that comes from being prepared. After you order from My Patriot Supply, your food will arrive discreetly at your doorstep. Prepare today, because time is short. Go to preparewithgroundzero.com. That's preparewithgroundzero.com.
AncientLifeOil.com. That's AncientLifeOil.com. Are you stressed? I mean, who isn't? Anxiety creeping in? No, not that. Is sleep hard to attain because your brain just won't slow down? We're living in crazy times, and the fear knob has been turned up. Okay, there's an answer. Take a big breath, exhale, and go log on to ancientlifeoil.com. CBD, broad and full spectrum, organic and non-GMO CBD for you to enjoy. Change your tune from fear to calm, from brain overload to clear thinking. 0.003 THC on full spectrum and 0% THC on broad spectrum. Competitive pricing with the best quality. Also know everything is going to get better. No worries, be happy. CBD can help calm so your nerves don't think they're a 6-string electric guitar. Enjoy life, smile, and log on to ancientlifeoil.com for great CBD. That's ancientlifeoil.com. You'll be glad you did.
It's a well-known fact that controversial talk show hosts have recently been censored and even banned on the internet by corporate and political interests. Hey guys, it's Clyde Lewis from Ground Zero. And in order to counter the suppression of information, we've decided to create our own private digital playground called Aftermath. It's an exclusive online multimedia library featuring a social media platform, videos, audio clips, archive shows, research groups, documents, and a news aggregator. In addition, we're hosting other Ground Zero-friendly podcasts like Conspirafact with Wes and Bill, Into the Microcosm with Jimmy Jean, Parawareness with Mr. Gates and Isaac Weishaupt, Opposing Perspective with James Ponder, The Infinite Fringe with Billy Ray Valentine, and several more shows. Mobile apps for Android and Apple are available too. The monthly subscription for Aftermath is only $10 a month. And don't forget to check out the yearly specials, including the Friends and Family Pass with one main account and 3 sub-accounts. Sign up now by going to aftermath.media. Again, that's aftermath.media.
Welcome back to Channel Weird, and it's very weird today. With us is Brent Marr.
How's it going?
Portland Sleestak. And the Sleestack mask, we had him take it off because, and here's the reason why. First, it's hot.
It's a little warm.
Second of all, show us the intricacy of, I mean, it's not just that you're wearing a mask.
Right.
But there's more to it than that. So show us, just give us a tour of this mask.
The
It's
head
amazing.
is gigantic. It's way bigger than a human head, and I wanted that just so that I'd have some circulation.
So what did you
in
mold it
there.
on, though, if it's bigger than
I
a
used
human head?
a head armature and then just made it big.
Okay.
Yeah, lots of space. There's a lot of space back here.
Yeah.
So basically, there's a bicycle helmet in there.
Wow.
That holds it all up. It's very thin. So the first couple were very thick and rigid. So I wanted this one to be a little more flexible. And once it was attached to the suit, it would look like the neck was moving naturally. And,
Sure.
So yeah, there's a bicycle helmet in there that you just clamp down. And here is a little communication device. No mic hooked up to it yet. I have a little earpiece that I put on under a hood.
So you can hear.
Right. And then it's got a couple of fans in there, little helmet fans. And it's just a battery operated 9-volt battery. The first one sucks air in through the mouth. I don't know if you can see in there or not, but there's a little screen.
Oh, I see that. Yeah. Okay. There's a screen
and
there.
So that pulls air in there and it blows it onto my face. So it kind of keeps me a little bit cooler. And then there's another one in the back that draws air into it and blows it out the ear here.
Oh my gosh.
So that the hot air is coming out here and the cool air is coming in the front, and hopefully it
that
keeps
can
me feeling okay.
Keeps you feeling okay, so you can stay in the costume for how long usually?
I'm good for maybe about an hour or so, before I need a break, just to kind of unzip it and breathe a little bit.
I did a commercial a long time ago. It was a spot. I think it was a spec spot for some tennis shoe company. It was either Nike or Adidas or something.
Right.
And they wanted me to dress up as Bigfoot. And it was, I thought, okay, just put on an ape suit and have at it. But no, they had me go in, and the suit was like tight on me. And then they had me put on these like little foot slippers that had these big toes and big feet. But then they actually applied the mask to my face.
Oh, wow.
So my face would move so it looked not like an ape mask, but like my face was part of the whole thing.
Nice.
And we filmed up at Mount Tabor because there was a basketball court there, and these kids are playing basketball. And then I'm coming down, lumbering down off the mountain. And it was really good. I mean, I thought, wow, that's a really good effect.
Nice.
The only problem is it was 97 degrees outside.
Of course.
By the time I got down to the bottom of the mountain, I was ready to pass out. I mean, I was like I never ever felt so weak in
Right.
my life, and
It
it's because it
really
sucked all the
does.
water out of me.
Really does take a toll on you. You know?
Right.
So yeah, I'm good for maybe 3-4 hours max, you know, with a couple of breaks in between. I also have a vest that I wear that I put ice packs in, a couple in the back and 4 in the front, and it, you know, it helps. It
Wow.
feels more like it's wet than cool, but it's at least something.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, well, okay, so I'm sure you make personal appearances.
Yeah.
Now, who calls you and says, you know, Brent, I need you to suit up and come out to birthday parties, bar mitzvahs, what?
Well, so far, most of them have been in my own volition. At Saturday Market, they, you know, obviously had a rough time over the past couple of years because of the pandemic. So I've made a couple of appearances down there just to hopefully bring some more people down to come and see me and then do some shopping, hopefully. But recently I got called up, got an email from a electricians union to show up at their holiday party for their company and do selfies. And she said just to hang out for a half hour or so and you know, take pictures and have fun. So we're doing that this afternoon, actually.
What is the crowd reaction usually?
Some people recognize it instantly. Other people don't know. They'll call me a dragon or something else. But a lot of people really do just, oh my God, it's a Sleestack.
Do they appreciate it?
Yeah.
I mean,
for the most part.
I mean, it brings in the inner child and the inner fears that you had when you were a child, I think, when you see it.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people, I guess probably it's the younger people think you're a dragon.
Right.
That's why we need that generation to come together and have another
Definitely.
attempt at looking at Land of the Lost.
Yeah, exactly.
I just think that I don't know why the script isn't there, and I really wish that they hadn't have. I don't know why they think it would be hilarious to do some sort of satire or some sort of a comedy that really flattened out because Will Ferrell was just, you know, phoning it in.
Right.
But you know, I don't know. It's just one of those things where I think, like I said, when we were told that you were going to be on the show, Ron, my producer, couldn't even pronounce it. He didn't even know what it was.
Yeah.
And I said, you're older than me. You weren't, I guess maybe you weren't watching it because
Right.
I guess you have to capture a certain demographic.
Not everybody sat in front of the TV on Saturday morning. Some people
Yeah, I didn't have a life.
Some people actually went outside and did things.
Yeah, they played. But no, I mean, even though I went outside and did things, I made sure that in the morning I'd get up and watch Land of the Lost.
Never missed the Super Friends, never missed Croft shows.
No. It's just they got better and better and better and better, and this is probably their magnum opus doing this show.
Nickelodeon actually did a reboot of a series. Timothy Bottoms was the star in it, and it was a different family, and I don't recall their name, and I've never actually seen a full episode of it. You can find it on YouTube, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
The Sleestacks in that were very, very different. They were more like those Gorns from Star Trek, the one that Kirk fought.
Oh, the one with the big horn in the front, the monkey.
He was like the lizard alligator.
Oh, I know. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, okay.
And these, you know, a little more ornate than that, but pretty decent. But they spoke. They actually, you know, had language and they talked to each other and wore all this, you know, Gwar style armor, and they, you know, not quite the same at all.
What is the weirdest appearance you've ever made? You can, I mean, if there is one.
I can't really think of anything that was particularly weird. One of my favorites was when the Nerd Out Cafe was open on Belmont. We just kind of showed up there because they had a sign that said, all these creatures welcome. And Sleestack was among them. And it was, you know, a whole list.
How long ago have you been doing this?
About 3 years now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because we used to do at a place called Bodacious Classics, a bar. We used to have Klingon karaoke.
Yeah.
And it was
I
funny.
went in there a few times. I loved how they had the circuit boards in the bathroom walls.
Yeah, the circuit boards, the bathroom walls. We had Star Wars stuff everywhere. We had a big Enterprise, and we had the Naboo ship of Star Wars. We had an R2-D2 that would go around. I mean, mostly Star Wars stuff, but the main attraction was a Klingon. Klingon Jim, we called him, came in, and he would sing rock hits in Klingon.
I wanted to go to that so bad, and I just never made it.
And I was thinking to myself, this would have been perfect because we had stormtroopers show up. We had a singing stormtrooper. We had another Klingon that would sing. He'd sing Just a Gigolo in Klingon. We had actually Miss Nude Oregon show up dressed as Slave Princess Leia. She actually took that on the road, and that's how she became Miss Nude Oregon, because she was. So we had all these people, and then when the Matrix came out, I dressed up as like Agent Smith, and then she dressed up as like Trinity, and her husband dressed up as like one of the other guys.
Right.
And it was just, you know, I think it was the first introduction I ever had to cosplay, because when I go to Comic-Cons, I mean, I see all these people dressed up, and I'm thinking, gosh, I used to do that.
Right.
I mean, I'm too big and kind of old now to be doing it. But maybe I'd find something that I could dress up as, and I could pull it off.
Right.
But something like this, I think it's so nostalgic and so out there that I think the reaction would be, remarkable.
Yeah. It is Portland though, so you'd be surprised how many people just kind of barely even look. I mean, I've got photos of myself standing at a Mac stop downtown at Pioneer Square, and people are just milling around me like I'm not even.
Yeah, I think people don't realize this. I remember back when, I've been in Portland since 1999.
Mm-hmm.
And I came here because, I was offered a job working on a national radio show, and then I produced another national show, and then Ground Zero became a national radio show. And one of the things that I actually, some of my friends who lived in Utah, I actually said to them, says, you wouldn't believe what I do here in Portland. You wouldn't believe what I'm doing right now. I said, I just got up and I did a whole speech about this, and this at a bar, doing some stand-up and some other stuff while I'm doing it. And then I walk off the stage and this band comes up and you can karaoke to a rock band. It was called Karaoke from Hell.
Right.
And I said, then on Thursdays, I go to another bar where I listen to a Klingon sing rock and roll in Klingon. And there's this couple that I know that Dave and Susie, and they got married, or they didn't get married. They had like a relationship type of I don't know what they call it, where they don't get married, but they're committed to each other.
Sure.
And one of the things that when I was at their ceremony, they said, if it weren't for Clyde and Klingon karaoke, we never would have met.
Right.
And I'm like, my God, it's like they met at a bar where a Klingon sings a song, and they had Klingons at their wedding and everything else.
Right.
And I'm just thinking, no one would believe the adventures if you just allow yourself to get into the weird state of mind in Oregon. You wouldn't understand the people you meet and the experiences you have.
I think it's kind of infectious too, because when I moved here, I've been here since 2003. I was pretty introverted,
Right.
So certainly Portland rubbed off on me at some point.
Amazing. Brent Marr with us, Portland Sleestak. And like I said, when I heard that we were interviewing, I just thought, this is the perfect interview, because I was a big fan of Sid and Marty Krofft's Land of the Lost. I'm sure many of you were too. Some of you may not have been, but for me, this is like old home. So we'll be back with more with Brent. Keep it here on Channel Weird. With me is Ronnie from GetTheTea.com. Hey, Ronnie, it is the tea that makes you go, I know this because I use it. My favorite is pomegranate. What kind of flavors are there to choose from with this wonderful tea?
You can do pomegranate. You can do just the straight, which is real good. And also we have a mint, a peppermint. People really love that one too. And we have a couple new flavors on the way, which I will not discuss yet, but they're coming.
A lot of people don't know that peppermint is a very, very good supplement to keep the stomach happy. It relaxes the intestines, and once again, it makes you feel better because it allows them to move around and get that stuff out of you, that bad stuff out of you.
Absolutely. This is a digest mover. So people have a hard time digesting stuff, or you get something stuck, or maybe you're a real heavy meat eater. The tea is wonderful. That's why it's tagline, the tea that makes you go.
If I want my life to change and get the tea, where do I go to get it?
GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com.
Fantastic.
It's all over the news, food shortages and scarcity in the supply chain. And the reality is nobody truly knows what might happen in the near future. Hi, I'm Clyde Lewis, and I want to let you know that it's a good idea to plan ahead so you aren't caught off guard. Nothing's more important than having enough food to eat, and we're here to help. We highly recommend My Patriot Supply, America's leading emergency preparedness company. They provide long-term emergency food that lasts up to 25 years in storage. When grocery stores run empty or disasters strike, their foods will be there when you need them most. Act now and secure at least a 4-week emergency food kit full of tasty meals that provide 2,000 calories a day. They have dozens of emergency food storage kits to choose from, along with a variety of other survival products. If the government tells you not to go out, you can have the peace of mind that comes from being prepared. After you order from My Patriot Supply, your food will arrive discreetly at your doorstep. Prepare today, because time is short. Go to preparewithgroundzero.com. That's preparewithgroundzero.com.
AncientLifeOil.com. That's AncientLifeOil.com. Are you stressed? I mean, who isn't? Anxiety creeping in? No, not that. Is sleep hard to attain because your brain just won't slow down? We're living in crazy times, and the fear knob has been turned up. Okay, there's an answer. Take a big breath, exhale, and go log on to AncientLifeOil.com. CBD, broad and full spectrum, organic and non-GMO CBD for you to enjoy. Change your tune from fear to calm, from brain overload to clear thinking. 0.003 THC on full spectrum and 0% THC on broad spectrum. Competitive pricing with the best quality. Also know everything is going to get better. No worries, be happy. CBD can help calm so your nerves don't think they're a 6-string electric guitar. Enjoy life, smile, and log on to AncientLifeOil.com for great CBD. That's AncientLifeOil.com. You'll be glad you did.
It's a well-known fact that controversial talk show hosts have recently been censored and even banned on the internet by corporate and political interests. Hey guys, it's Clyde Lewis from Ground Zero. And in order to counter the suppression of information, we've decided to create our own private digital playground called Aftermath. It's an exclusive online multimedia library featuring a social media platform, videos, audio clips, archive shows, research groups, documents, and a news aggregator. In addition, we're hosting other Ground Zero friendly podcasts like Conspirafact with Wes and Bill, Into the Microcosm with Jimmy Jean, Parawareness with Mr. Gates and Isaac Weishaupt, Opposing Perspective with James Ponder, The Infinite Fringe with Billy Ray Valentine, and several more shows. Mobile apps for Android and Apple are available too. The monthly subscription for Aftermath is only $10 a month. And don't forget to check out the yearly specials, including the Friends and Family Pass with 1 main account and 3 sub-accounts. Sign up now by going to aftermath.media. Again, that's aftermath.media.
Brent Mars with us, Portland Sleestak. And, one of the reasons why we brought him here is because, you're involved with, they're trying to reestablish. We had somebody on a while ago, but they want to kind of shake off the whole COVID depression.
Right.
And bring back the weirdness of Portland, which is something that I think is important. I think that's the backbone of our city. I mean, you have the Unipiper, and you have Darcel, and you have all these other people,
Right.
And then you have you,
Yeah.
and there's the Mad Martian. I interviewed him,
Right.
um,
Statue Man.
Yeah, Statue Man. There's
Yeah.
another one. That'd be an interesting guy to get a hold of. He's the silver statue guy.
Right.
And I used to see him all the time downtown. When I'd hang out, and I don't hang out downtown anymore.
Right. Yeah.
Because there's nothing weird going on anymore.
Yeah. The pandemic has definitely put a grinding halt.
Well,
to a lot of
and
good
the
activities.
protests too, which
Yeah.
is kind of like, stay away from the city because of it. And they'll say it was only in a 2-block area. Well, yeah, that's enough. I mean, when you have police officers on every block, and you don't feel like you can be weird in that regard.
Yeah, exactly.
But there ought to be at least a moment where we do recognize this. I think we need to recognize those who have these, odd. I don't know if they're really odd, but these things that are just make Portland the fun place it is. I mean, it's like it's a playground if you're able to run into these characters. I mean, there are a lot of characters that have passed on. And they we remember them. I mean, I remember we still have Street Elvis.
Yeah.
He's an amazing guy. And, and I remember he was one of the first people I met in Oregon when I first came here. I met Street Elvis at the Elvis Museum.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I met Diablos Rex, who is a character. He's
right.
But I don't know if he's still here in Portland. I think he's moved to Transylvania. I don't know. and then, and again, meeting you, and if I had known, I had no clue that you existed.
I'm still trying to get it out there. Like I said, the pandemic kind of put a grinding halt to all my, public appearances,
Mm-hmm.
just because, you don't want people to feel uncomfortable.
Right.
And plus I need helpers to get me in and out of the suit. So I mean, you're exposing them, they're exposing me.
Yeah.
It just wasn't really a good idea to be out there on a regular basis.
Do you play guitar?
I don't.
Oh, okay.
No.
Okay, because I was going to say if you
I
play
do
guitar,
sing karaoke, but
okay, well, you sing then.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
so
a little
what you
bit.
need to do is you need to put a band together, and I would go see you guys. I really would. I mean, it's like you could open for Guar.
Right?
They were just here, weren't they?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I actually, I was in Virginia. It's in a college area, but Guar has a restaurant in Virginia, and it's like, you know, the cook is one of the members of Guar,
Nice.
but they all dress up, and you've got like, you know, all the masks, and you've got all the stuff there at it's like a Guar museum. So,
yeah. You know, when you put on any kind of costume, you literally, you know, you shed your inhibitions and you become somebody else. You really step into a character or a different version of yourself. Maybe, but
I'm really, really excited for the idea of having more than one Sleestack in this town. Seriously. I mean, you really need to, you know, probably take out an ad or something and saying, I'm Brent Maher, I've got the best damn Sleestack costume ever.
Right.
And I want like other guys so that we can like all step out of a UFO and scare the hell out of them.
Like I do. I still have the second version, which is pretty much identical to this, but it's a little bit heavier and a little bit harder to wear.
Right.
It basically only fits me, so you're gonna have to be my size or smaller.
Right.
But
I don't think
we could go out in a pair.
I don't think we could be the guy my size could be a Sleestack. Aren't you a little fat for a Sleestack?
Well, I'm a little fat for a Sleestack, so you know.
You know, and I thought to myself too, wouldn't it be a terrifying thing where they hire you to like, you know, okay, so this is the deal. I'm going to my wife and I are going to go to bed. And we're going to be sleeping in bed. And what we want you to do is come to our window and tap on the window at 2:00 in the morning and see what happens there.
I have
You get
indeed
shot.
I have indeed gotten a few interesting propositions from some people. I actually did an interview a couple of years ago for a furry website.
Oh, for a furry one?
Yeah.
But it's not a furry. It's a scaly.
Yeah, it's a scaly. But he was very interested in. Yeah,
really?
We didn't go into anything. PG.
Really? You're kidding me?
Yeah, he was pretty interested in it. It was interesting. I was kind of nervous
but
about doing it.
They don't have the mechanism.
No, they don't.
Because I mean, they're reptiles, right?
Yeah, I think there's a deleted scene from the Will Ferrell movie where it kind of shows two Sleestack getting ready to get it on, but they don't actually show.
I thought they like laid eggs or something.
They eat these moths or something, and I'm not sure how that all works, but I need to go back and rewatch the show.
Is there a, like, you know, I know in Star Wars they have the books that talk about their creatures and they talk about everything. Right. It's almost like a Bible thing, or you know, is there a book about Sleestack, their mannerisms, their culture, what they do?
There's a Wikipedia page that does
really?
That does a pretty good explanation under the topic of aliens, I think, and it talks.
So they are considered aliens.
Yeah.
Wow.
I do believe that they lay eggs, but in order to fertilize them, they have to eat these specific types of moths, and I don't know why, but at least that's the series, mythology.
Right.
I don't know how they explain it away in the movie, although they cut that scene entirely. So
such a wasted character here.
Definitely.
There needs to be a movie, or like I said, there needs to be something where we can bring back the Sleestack, because it's just a character that has been lost.
Their origins and their motivations and
lost in history, lost in space,
right?
Lost in the land of the lost.
Yeah. Actually, Land of the Lost was one of the longest running Croft shows. Usually they ran 1 or 2 seasons at the most.
How many seasons did they have?
They had 3.
Really?
Yeah. The first 2 seasons were the 2 kids and the dad, and then contract negotiations fell through with the dad. Spencer Milligan is his name.
Didn't he eventually die, though?
Yeah, he fell through the time door and evidently escaped. And at the same time, his brother, who was searching for them, fell through.
I remember that. Yeah, the brother came
he was
through.
the guy from the Planet of the Apes series.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the blonde guy that played the Charlton Heston character in the series. But,
I remember that.
Uncle Jack.
Vaguely. Yeah. I remember that vaguely. That was kind of
and that's when
where it jumped the shark.
Yeah, that's when the fire-breathing dinosaurs appeared, and they lost all the Pikuni except for Chaka, and Chaka had somehow become more intelligent. So he spoke better broken English.
And we forgot about that little baby dinosaur. What was his name?
Dopey.
It was Dopey.
Right.
Dopey was cute. Dopey was a cute little dinosaur. But it was just like, it was like Jurassic Park before Jurassic Park was Jurassic Park.
Right. There was actually one episode where almost all of the dialogue was the dinosaurs screeching and roaring at each other.
Really?
And it was, watching it as an adult was really painful.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've
as
had
a
our
kid,
moments.
it's like, it's all right, dinosaurs, but
Like,
yeah.
I still haven't gotten over the Star Wars holiday special. So it's like one of those things that's like passing a twisted sardine can when you watch it. It's like, oh my God. But so what next for the Sleestack? I mean, what are you planning on doing with this? You need to do a lot with this. I'm
a lot
sure.
of my inspiration was the scary snowman guy on YouTube, where he's just kind of standing there and the women walk by and then he moves and they screech,
Yeah.
I think people love to be scared. I mean, and then in the realization that it's just something silly, they laugh about it,
Right.
But that initial surprise and the scream is just priceless to me.
Yeah, well, I mean, it certainly would do that. I mean, there's nothing scarier than a Sleestack on the corner at midnight.
Right.
Lon Chaney said that, I think.
Or popping out of a doorway in the dark, when you've had, a few beers at the club. And
get Brett Maher in a Sleestack costume, have him pop out a cake
right.
at your business
That'd
function.
be a big cake. I'm almost 7 feet tall in the suit.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So what do you have?
The feet have like platforms.
Oh,
inside.
they do.
Yeah.
So it brings you up higher.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'd see that.
And then you got the top of the head, which is
a
another few inches above. So I'm
especially
quite
with
nearly,
a point.
Yeah, I'm
right
quite
there.
nearly 7 feet to that.
That's perfect. That's just amazing.
I'm a little more robust than the old Sleestack, but
But that
beyond that
makes you look threatening, though.
Exactly.
I mean, Sleestack. Sometimes I think that the Sleestack were too skinny.
Yeah, and they were too slow. But I'm no track runner in this one either. I don't go very fast.
See, that's the thing is that if we were to do a movie, the Sleestack would have to be like running zombies.
Right.
It's like I remember they brought the running zombies in like World War Z, and I'm thinking they don't do that thing like. I think
the movie costumes were actually a little bit more flexible, and they were able to maybe move a little bit quicker. I don't think they really did that in the movie, but I think they were a little lighter and ready to go. And I actually almost bought one from an auction house from one of the actual movie costumes, but I just couldn't quite justify it. It was a little bit spendy.
Maybe one. Well, I mean, how spendy?
It was $5,000.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Shipped from the
See,
UK
I mean,
somewhere.
these hobbies are just out of my paycheck, out of my pay grade.
Definitely.
But I mean, when you can't afford it, you make it yourself.
Yeah.
How much do you spend on making it yourself, though?
It was quite a bit. I'd say I'd probably, with all three, I've probably put at least $10,000 into,
wow.
And that's not including hours.
Like I say, man, selling business, getting people to get dressed up. Right. I mean, this is a great costume.
Yeah, when you're learning to do it yourself, you make a lot of mistakes too. So I mean, a lot of that money went into the garbage, and
right.
So pounding of the
so
head
you've done
on
the Sleestack. Is there anything else you're going to do in the future?
I definitely would like to try to do a really good Bigfoot. There's a couple of them out there, like the Jack Link commercial Bigfoot's kind of cool. But yeah, a good Bigfoot would be fun.
Yeah.
Or like maybe a Wendigo with the big antlers and the scary skull face.
Yeah, they have a good Bigfoot that walks
hair.
around Squatch Fest every once in a while. He's really good. But yeah, and the kids love him. I've seen, because I've been to my share of Bigfoot conferences, so I've seen all types. But yeah, I'd love to see a really good Bigfoot costume.
I actually saw a picture that somebody did. It was a photo of some food art, and it was basically a banana that had been peeled to about halfway, and they'd carved this happy skull face into the meat of the banana, and then there was like a mask happy face on the peel that you could see, and I'm not sure what it was from, but I kind of want to make a scary monster banana guy.
And you can hang out with Broccoli Man.
Right.
Mad Martian.
The wheels are turning. I'm trying to figure out how I can do it.
You, Banana Man, and Broccoli Man, and Sleestack. Sounds like a lawyer firm.
Right.
If you're injured. Anyway, Brett, thank you so much for being a part of the show.
Thanks for having me.
And it's been Channel Weird. Remember, the Sleestacks are hiding under your bed. I'm just so happy.
Well, they're around the corner.
They're around the corner hanging out. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next week.
1,000 feet below, to the land